How's it going everyone, my name is BAYZY and welcome to another video. So one of the YouTubers in which I am subscribed to is called BigFry, and some of you might know his name. He is quite big on YouTube for discussing games that are tactical and, to be honest, being quite brutal about his opinions and kind of getting his opinions across. And luckily he has came back to Ghost Recon and he's actually turned around and said it's a decent game now. So within this video I want to give a bit of a rundown of what my opinions are based on what he's saying. I did contact him, I did ask him whether I could make a video based on it. He said sure, and I'm really happy that he did respond. I'll put the link in the description to his channel. Do go check him out if you haven't already. But anyways, if you do enjoy the video, hit the subscribe button and hit that like button, and let's get straight into this thing.
Shit! Hostiles! Get them! What you guys are seeing on screen here is, in my opinion, one of the best looking tactical shooters that you can play right now. And it'd probably blow your mind to hear that it came out 2 years ago. This is Recon Breakpoint, and if you guys are an older viewer of mine, you would know that I absolutely hated this game from the moment I walked out of my E3 playthrough. It was a disaster. The game, from its implementation of gear score and RPG-like elements, to the super annoying and intrusive drones and helicopter patrols, to just the visual look of the game, it always felt so washed out and just overall really ugly. That is, until now, however. I'm going to show you how you guys can have an experience that is much more in line with Ghost Recon of the past, but up that visual standard to a AAA next generation experience that we're going to have maybe 10 years from now. If you like the video, please leave a like on it, drives it up the algorithm. Subscribe today for more content just like this.
So straight off the bat here, we can all agree that Breakpoint never had a good start, and the fact that this was seen very early on at E3 and was actually fed back to Ubisoft so that they could make some improvements before the proper launch of the game. I'm really surprised they didn't change up the game to make the game more specific to what the community wanted. Now, of course, that is a short time to be able to do stuff, but at the end of the day, they could have changed little bits to maybe make the game more enjoyable. So I totally agree, the game never launched really good, and I'm surprised Ubisoft didn't change their strategy when they showed it off at E3, but I'm kind of glad that the bad reviews at the start of the game has totally improved the game since launch. Of course, we've had loads of updates such as the Ghost Experience updates, adding the immersive mode, adding the world parameters, and adding loads of different things within the settings to make the game more enjoyable for the community, and instead of making the game kind of fit everyone's likings, kind of niche down in the tactical genre a little bit, and I'm hoping this carries on throughout 2021, and of course in the next Ghost Recon I hope that they improve on their ability to make the game specific to that niche. Instead of making it so broad, they don't need to make it broad. There is a player base there for this tactical genre, they just need to make a good game for it.
Ubisoft has actually listened to a lot of the feedback from the community over the past 2 years, and it's created these things called Ghost Experiences, in which you can go in and tailor a lot of the aspects of the game to your liking, from removing helicopter patrols, lowering the amount of drones, to just changing everything about the HUD, removing HUD elements and markers to make the game feel way more immersive and tactical. But I decided to take that one step further, and I went and downloaded some cinematic presets from the Merc Assassin on Nexus Mods. And I'm going to have all of these things linked down below. Now, when it comes to the Ghost Experiences, I've struck a balance between immersion and still allowing the game to be kind of functional and playable. I left the enemy notice markers on, main objective pings are still in the game, and the subtle level XP and mission objectives kind of tied to hitting tab. You can like hide it when you really want to have that immersive experience, but when you need to know where you're going, you can just hit the tab button and kind of pull it up to the side. I've made all the text kind of smaller and off more to the sides, and it allows a really nice immersive experience while still allowing you to actually play the game competently.
So I'll tie in just here. As he says, there has been a lot of updates for Ghost Recon Breakpoint since launch, and they've totally improved the game. The Ghost experience, for example, which came out in the 2.0 update, that was absolutely amazing. And of course in November we got the world parameters, and that was amazing as well. That was a second update for the Ghost experience, and I think these updates have just completely changed the game, made the game something totally different to what it was at launch. Now personally, I like to fiddle around with settings, making different games specific to how I want to play. So all these different things in which have arrived within these updates has totally improved the game for me as a player, and I'm sure everybody else is like that as well. Now just go over the hood a little bit. Most of these features in which he's going over with were actually in the game at launch. It just wasn't until later on where people started to really utilize them to make the game fit how you want to play. I don't think that there was enough emphasis on your ability to change your HUD, change the way you want to play before the launch of the game. I think they lost quite a few people on this because people didn't believe that you could adapt the game to how you wanted to play.
With the reshade mods, there's moments where this game looks photoreal, and it's all running in real time and just feels fantastic. When it comes to using reshade in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, you actually have to uninstall the BattlEye anti-cheat that they use for the multiplayer. So if you do want to do this, you cannot access the Ghost War PvP portion of the game, but if you ever want to just try this and then jump back into PvP after, you can just delete reshade, get rid of the presets, and just go back to vanilla Ghost Recon. I'll have all of the instructions to that down below. I strongly urge you guys, if you're playing the single player campaign or if you're playing co-op or whatever, play it like this. This is the prime way to experience a Ghost Recon game. I mean, just look at this snippet of gameplay here.
Good. I'm gonna look around.
I didn't realise you could add mods like this into the game. I knew you could add certain things like voice commands and all that kind of stuff. I didn't know that you could improve the game with shaders. Now looking at the shaders does look quite interesting and it does look quite nice, but I was fiddling around with my settings earlier and I got it kind of close to this. There is a way of changing your gamma, brightness and the contrast, and then there is also a way of changing the sharpness of the image which is provided. So altering these and of course increasing the texture quality and increasing the amount of shadows that are provided so that they're on the highest settings, it pretty much creates the exact same feel of the shaders. Of course at night it's going to be slightly dark, but overall I got it kind of close. And honestly, just messing around with the different settings, it just hugely changes the game. Mess around with settings, mess around with them things which I have mentioned, and you'll be surprised about how different the game looks. But of course, if you do want the shaders, do go check out his video. He's got it all in the description.
Instead of that washed out, ashy bullshit that we got with Breakpoint Vanilla, this actually looks like something out of a next-gen AAA game, which begs the question, what the fuck did Ubisoft do? And why did they intentionally nerf the look and feel of a AAA production of this caliber? Why put all of those resources into making a subpar experience? Was it for performance? Because at the end of the day, reshade mods might cause a little bit of performance issues, but when it comes to Ubisoft and their games on the PC platform, that doesn't really seem to be an issue or a worry for them, because most of those games are unoptimized as fuck to begin with. But what I will say is Ubisoft, in doing all of these introductions like the Ghost experiences and allowing us to tailor it to a more tactical and immersive experience, I hope that in their brains they see that tactical shooter fans, when we have a product that, you know, is actually good, we are going to stick by it and we are going to play it to its wit's end. And that is a customer that is way more valuable when it comes to the video game industry right now. The longer they can keep you hooked and in this world, the more profit they can make. But when the game was filled with all of this bullshit that tactical shooter and Ghost Recon fans didn't need, and became almost like that weird step cousin to Division, it feels like they intentionally took a shot and missed. When I'm playing this game now and I'm approaching an objective point and I'm running around taking out enemies and I don't have to worry about hitting the H button to focus on an over fucking helicopter patrol or a drone that's nearby. There are still drones in the game, but it is so much less intrusive than it was before that this is truly, I think, how the game should have launched. And what's
So there are a few things here, and the first one that came up is how unoptimized Breakpoint is, and this is a thing which I've been saying for so long, and I'm glad that someone else has said this. Why can't they make their games optimized? I know they have the capability to do so, but for some reason they don't want to. I have a decent PC, and for some reason I get around about 60 to 70 FPS, while on other games which are much more demanding, I get around about 120 to 200 frames per second. And also going back to the point where he basically says that the community will stick by the game, because that's what the Ghost Recon community is all about. And almost the other tactical genre games, the communities in them are just the same. They will stay on until the games end. It's back to what I was talking about with my last video about replayability. They need to ensure replayability within Breakpoint in the next few updates, otherwise the game's dead. And I really hope that from the get-go, for the next Ghost Recon, I really hope that they introduce something which will allow the player to replay the game instead of doing the same bases, doing the same missions over again like we are within Breakpoint. Wildlands had some form of replayability with the Ghost mode. Why not implement Ghost mode within Breakpoint, for example, or even just wait for the next game, possibly in 2022, possibly in 2023, and from the get-go, as I say, implement a way in which the game is replayable. Otherwise, it will just get boring.
Launch. And what's crazy is I did a video on the first Ghost experience sometime in the last half of last year, and I said that that is how this was supposed to launch. And after doing more changes to the HUD elements and tailoring that new game experience, while at the same time adding these reshade elements and making the game pop in a visual way that I actually didn't even expect, this is the way Ghost Recon needs to be from now on. If you can nail the character movement and the physics of the character in the next iteration, because it is still really, really wonky, if you could actually make the AI worth a fuck in the next game, and then take what we have here on screen and what I've just played and make that the next Ghost Recon, well boy, you won't see me wanting to leave an E3 playthrough with the developers early, because that experience is exactly what Ghost Recon fans want in this next generation. Ubisoft, use your brains and realize that the changes that you have been making to this game over the last 2 years is leading up to what an actual Ghost Recon experience should be, and it's something that we have been asking for since you first announced Ghost Recon Wildlands.
What an ending to the video there, and it's mad because I totally agree. Ubisoft need to learn from the faults of Breakpoint and make sure the game is specific to what the community wants. Listen to the community before the release of the next game. Maybe even set out a community survey just to ask what the community would like to see, instead of just making up some form of concept which, in honesty, the community might not enjoy it once it releases. I think that's where Breakpoint went wrong. They went down a route in which was very similar to how Assassin's Creed went, because Assassin's Creed really did well when it came to having the looting vibe, but of course that didn't work within what is supposed to be a tactical game. And I really hope that Ubisoft learn from their faults, and of course this video isn't an attack at Ubisoft, this is just mentioning what my opinion is based on Breakpoint and getting my point across that the next game needs to be an improved version of Ghost Recon, better than any other Ghost Recon game that's came out. And I really hope that Ubisoft does pull off something really great within 2022 or within 2023. That's even if there is going to be a next Ghost Recon or not. Also, in addition to what he has said, there is going to be some improvements to the AI, of course, coming in the next update. I'd love to see his thoughts on that, and I will let him know and maybe check them out. But anyways, I hope you have enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that like button. It's greatly appreciated, and hit the notification bell to get notified when I upload. And I'll see you all in the next video.